I was about to go to sleep, but major news just dropped as Shamshrani has just reported that the Bulls and Patrick Williams are going to agree to a 5-year, $90 million deal to return to the Bulls next season. So, major news to talk about in the middle of the night here. Make sure you hit that like button if you're new to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Alright, big news drop as Patrick Williams and the Chicago Bulls have agreed before free agency has started to a 5-year, $90 million deal. That is $18 million annually per year. So, overall, just my initial thoughts to give out here. I like this contract. I think this is a pretty solid deal for kind of both sides here. And I don't have too many issues with it. But before I talk more about the contract here and my overall thoughts, I want to go over some things here. Okay. First off, Jamal Collier for ESPN has put in something that is very, very important. The 5th year of this contract is a player option. Okay, this was not initially reported by Shams Charania, but Collier has put out here that the 5th year is a player option, which again, very, very important. So far in the AK and Mark Eversley tenure, they've been willing to give out player options in the last year of contracts. We obviously just saw with Torrey Craig picking up his player option today. We saw Andre Drummond picking up his player option last season. He gave out player options to Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball, and now to Patrick Williams. Okay, so it seems like it's a common thing for this front office to do such a thing. Also, they did it to Derrick Jones Jr. I completely forgot about him. They gave Derrick Jones Jr. a player option when they re-signed him. So it just seems like a common thing this front office is willing to do, maybe as part of their negotiation tactic. I'm not too sure, but this seems like it's something consistent now when it comes to this Bulls front office. Is they're willing to give out the player option. So important to know that it's 4 years guaranteed for P. Will, and the 5th year is a player option, which is also guaranteed money. Okay. Casey Johnson decided to give out some important details, which showed that the Bulls had some talks with P. Will before before the start of last season, where they offered about $16 million a year. P. Will and his camp wanted 22, which kind of makes sense to what DeAndre Hunter and others like P. Will were getting. So in the end, I think this is a pretty a showing of they came into a good middle ground, but the Bulls won the middle ground. So as you can see, 18 is closer to 16 and 22. So Bulls, in my opinion, they did finally, for once in their life, thank God, the front office has won a negotiation, in my opinion. So yeah. Unfortunately, as I am recording this, SpotTrack has not updated this, and I've looked around and no other site has updated their estimation for P. Will's contract. I'm going to reload it again right here just to see it's still not here. So they still have P. Will heading into restricted free agency, which is fine. But I decided to think about, well, what other 5-year, $90 million contracts have been signed. And so I decided to go look at these two players. So Duncan Robinson signed a 5-year, $90 million contract. Only $80 million of it was guaranteed, though. So I'm not entirely sure if this is perfect, but I think that P. Will's contract breakdown is going to look similar to this, okay? Instead of it being $18 million per year every season, I think it's going to look similar to this, where his salary increases by 8% each year. Reason why is because the Bulls clearly just re-signed P. Will using bird rights, and if your contract is via bird rights, your salary increases by 8% every year. They could re-sign P. Will to the flat $18 million per year, which I think that would be even better for the Bulls. But I think this is more likely what's going to happen. So as you can see here, Duncan Robinson's first year of his contract was $15.65 million. Okay. And then I looked at Norman Powell's contract, who is signed the same contract, 5 years, $90 million. His was fully guaranteed, though. And you can see here that his contract started at $15.5 million. And as you can see, it increases each year by 8%. You can go ahead and do the math. It increases each year by 8%. The last year, though, for Duncan Robinson, this is not an 8% increase, clearly. So this is the reason I'm a little bit concerned if this is correct. But I think we're going to look at Norman Powell's contract mostly and probably estimate that the first year of P. Will's contract is going to be about 15.5, maybe $16 million. We'll see, but I think it's going to be around here. I think this is a really good contract to kind of base our estimation off of. So with that being said, knowing that P. Will's first year is going to be about $15.5 million, and it's going to increase each year by 8% most likely. Again, this is just most likely because I think this is how it's going to work. I think, again, this is a solid contract for the Bulls, and I actually think it's also a really solid contract for P. Will. First off, for P. Will, he has a chance to outplay this contract. Okay, I think that with the player option, the 4th year, this gives him a lot of flexibility. So if he does outplay his contract, he's able to go into unrestricted free agency earlier and cash in on his value. Okay, so it's good for P. Will. For the Bulls, I think this is a good contract that is a good measure of the risk when it comes to Patrick Williams. I think the outlook for P. Will is that he's going to be a 3-and-D type player, and knowing how much the salary cap is going to be increasing every single year from here on out, this is a pretty solid overall contract to be kind of willing to give to P. Will. My concerns, okay? My major concern is this, the injury for P. Will. I don't know exactly what this whole injury is with P. Will. Obviously, we saw him only play 43 games last season, and his injury went from being not too severe to something very severe for him to being out for the season, and now we don't really know what we're looking at for the future. In AK's press conference after the draft, he said that he expects P. Will to be ready for training camp, but he said that P. Will wasn't fully cleared, it sounds like, for stuff, and he's not necessarily doing contact yet, but I'm not entirely sure how much that is true. So I'm hoping that P. Will is fully, recovering from his injury, and it will be 100% ready for training camp. That is like the major concern with this contract, because you just gave out a significant amount of guaranteed money to a guy that I'm gonna guess is fully, ready to play. But if he's not, this doesn't look too good. So yeah, that's a concern. The other concern with P. Will, I mean, if you've watched my channel, but I'll just reiterate my thoughts about P. Will. I've been pretty critical about P. Will. I was happy about the pick initially, but he hasn't really played that well in his 4 seasons. He's basically been the definition of a mid-type player. I've had major concerns about his ability to finish at the rim, the ability to just get at the rim, and just be able to just drive the ball and get to the rim. I put him in the catch and think category of players, which is something that I've been harping on him for many, many years now. And also I have some questions about his motor. Is he willing to go get offensive rebounds? Is he willing to cut within the offense correctly and notice when he has advantages and take advantage of them? That's just on the offensive end. Now, defensively, I've been pretty okay with Patrick Williams. I think he's been pretty solid defensively in terms of on-ball defense. I would like for him to get more steals in the passing lanes, but that's, I'm not going to be too critical about that. In terms of help defense, I think he could be a little bit better, but I think he's grown in that category since in his 4 years in the NBA. And I do think that in terms of perimeter defenders, he is going to be a really solid option that can guard 1 through 4. So knowing that, and knowing that his outlook as a 3-and-D type player with ideally close to 40% 3-point shooting, this looks pretty good for the Bulls if Patrick Williams can live up to that potential of being a good 3-and-D starter. And let's just say, for example, he ends up averaging 14 and 7 on close to 40% 3-point shooting. This salary, or this contract, is fantastic for the Bulls. I think it would be a fantastic salary for the Bulls if that's the case, if P. Will can get to that point. But the big question is, can he get to that point? But even so, if let's say like next season, which, by the way, next season, he needs to increase his 3-point percentage. Like, there's no excuse, he needs to increase his 3-point attempts next season. There is no excuse for him to be only averaging 3 threes per game next season. There is no excuse, okay? And if it happens again, it's a major problem. But if he increases his 3-point attempts and keeps that about 40% 3-point percentage, this is good. That's all good numbers. Now, the one last thing about P. Will that I'm concerned about still, and I need to see better from him, is the rebounding, okay? And I know this has been a long discussion for many Bulls fans, and also a discussion on this channel, but P. Will's rebounding needs to just be better. He's 6'7". He's supposed to have good athleticism. He just needs to do better. And I honestly think it's a motor issue when it comes to his rebounding sometimes. He needs to do a lot better in terms of his rebounding. If you want to know, Alex Caruso averaged 0.1 less rebounds than Patrick Williams last season. Alex Caruso averaged 0.1 less rebounds per game last season than Patrick Williams. That's all I'm going to say. So, with that being said, his rebounding just needs to get it better. I think Patrick Williams is about to start at the 3 position next season due to Buzella starting at the 4, in my opinion. Again, this is just my opinion. So that will basically decrease the importance of rebounds for P. Will, but it is something that I still need for him to get better at. He can't average 4 rebounds per game for a guy that is built like him. And I'm just saying, get to 5. That's all I'm asking. Like, I just need to see an increase. But that being said, I still think this is a pretty solid overall contract, knowing, again, the salary cap's going to increase, and if P. Will can just increase his points per game and rebounds per game just slightly and keep that 40% three-point percentage with good defense, this is a very good contract. But he still has a ways to go to prove that this contract is worthy of his value in the NBA. That's all I have for you guys in this video. This is just my initial thoughts. So let me know about the contract and what you guys think of P. Will signing a 5-year, $90 million contract to stay with the Bulls in the comment section down below. I'll see y'all, or thank you guys so much for watching. If you make sure you hit the like button if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'll see y'all next one. Peace.